Today on Tricross News, we take a look at the Boss PS-5 Super Shifter. So looking at the front of this pedal, this is typically where I would talk about what each one of these knobs will do. But with this pedal, it works a little bit differently. With our mode knob here, that's going to distinguish what each of these different knobs are going to do. And sometimes they have a different use, and sometimes certain knobs on this pedal will be obsolete depending on what mode you're in. So let's talk about our input and output jacks. We have our guitar input here, our expression input. Our expression input we'll get into a little bit later on, showing how this thing reacts with an expression pedal, which is really cool. And then we have our output A and output B. Output A is going to allow us to have our affected signal, and output B would be our dry signal. So looking at mode number one, we have pitch shifter, which will allow you to shift your tone up or down 2 octaves. With this mode, you can actually do chords and you can do single notes, and they will all shine through. Moving on to our knobs here, we have our balance knob, which is the one in the middle here. That's really going to balance between your wet and dry mix, dry being all the way to the left and wet being all the way to the right. Find your balance, what you want, or if you want way more of the other, you're going to be able to do it with this knob. HR key, unusable knob for this, skip over it. Moving on now to our pitch knob, which I'm going to put in a chart right down here so you guys can see what each mode of the knob will actually shift your guitar into. And then with our expression output, what that's going to do is when you have your expression output plugged in, depending on where you have your pitch knob set, that's going to be the maximum of your toe all the way down. So let's listen to a sound sample of this setting. Moving on now to mode number 2, we have Harmonist. Harmonist is going to sound like another guitar player is playing with you in harmony. With this sound, you have to make sure that you are playing single notes. If you hit chords or hit too many notes at once, it will glitch and make kind of some weird sounds, so you have to be very careful of that. Also, make sure you are in tune, A4 440 Hertz. If not, it might glitch a bit and not really be where you want it to be when you go to start playing. You could end up being all over the place. So make sure that you're really dead on for your tuning. Moving on now, we have our balance knob. Balance knob is going to, obviously, like we talked before, is your wet and dry mix. HR key, this is where you're going to set whatever key the song is in. That's what you're going to set there. And then for pitch, you're going to set the interval, which I'll show you a chart down here of where you want that second guitar player to be playing at. So with the expression pedal jack here, it's same as the last setting that we did. It's just going to, wherever you have your pitch knob, it's going to be, that's going to be your max, and then you can kind of continuously move around the pitch of the signal that you're playing with. So let's listen to some sound samples of this setting. Moving on now to mode 3, we have detune. This is going to add a subtle pitch effect to the input signal that creates a downtune effect. First thing we're going to look at is delay time. You can set this, it's the outer knob, and then you have your balance knob, which is going to allow you to fine tune that wet and dry mix as well. Moving on now to our pitch. Our pitch is where you can kind of really distinguish what scent of the detune you want. So here's a chart here to show you what scents are selectable. And when you plug an expression pedal into this jack, it does the same thing where your highest pitch is where your highest amount of toe down is going to be. So here's a sound sample of this setting. Moving on now to mode number 4, which is T-Arm or tremolo arm, which simulates a tremolo arm on a guitar. This is a single note style of effect. So with that being said, let's get into the knobs. Knobs, we have balance, which adjusts the volume, so more so than the affected sound like we've seen before. Speed is going to allow you to adjust the period of time it takes to get to the desired pitch that you've selected. To utilize this effect, you have to hold down the pedal. When you're holding down the pedal, then the effect comes in, and then when you let go, the effect goes away. Moving on now to our pitch. Pitch is going to really set whereabouts you want the pitch to go to, which in the chart here below, you can see what selectable pitches that you have. And for our expression pedal, just like before, it just continuously moves the pitch of the sound. So here we go. Moving on now to our last and final setting, we have Flutter. Flutter simulates a Floyd Rose style tremolo where you can shift up or down one octave. You depress the pedal just like we did in our last setting. That's when the effect starts taking place, and you can hear the whammy going up and down, up and down, up and down. And then when you let go, that's when the effect's going to release. Looking at balance knob, the balance knob is going to adjust the volume like we talked about before, and the speed is going to allow you to select the delay time speed of how long it takes to get the effect kind of going. Pitch is going to allow you to select the desired pitch, as you can see here. And if you plug an expression pedal into this effect, you're still going to get the continuous smooth pitch shifting effect that you would with any of the other settings that we've seen. So let's listen to this setting in action. So last but not least, let's listen to what an expression pedal does to this effect. So this concludes my review of the Boss PS-5 Super Shifter. This is a really cool, excellent pedal. They're kind of not easy to find or for cheap secondhand even. I've had a lot of trouble trying to even find one of these, and we have plenty of Boss pedals where I'm from. But depending on what type of use you want this for, this may or may not be for you. Or if you really want a harmony style guitar pedal and you don't understand key signatures and intervals, this might not be for you. But if you do have the knowledge to understand intervals and keys and stuff like that, this might work for you. The glitchiness on it and stuff, you got to be really careful. You got to make sure the tuning is proper, like I told you before. There is some really cool tremolo arm effects, which I kind of like with this pedal. Adds a little something different to the mix, especially if you want to play something and you don't have a whammy bar. You can kind of simulate that on the fly. Where I believe this shines is the pitch shifting aspect with an expression pedal. The reason why I think this thing shines with that is the fact that you can set your maximum amount of pitch shift. So if you like the pitch shifter style of effect, but you don't like how when you get to the toe down position, it gets into some screech and some unpleasant noises, you can actually dial that back so you don't get that, which I really like because you're kind of trying to be a little bit cautious about how far you're going sometimes with these effects. So the fact that you can dial that back, I really like that because it gets you to that sweet spot so you can use your full suite. So enough talking. I hope I've been able you distinguish if this is the pedal that's right for you or not. Until next time, I'm Kevin of Tricrow Studios. Take care.